Now, I've been beside myself with the Liberals. I mean, no fight, no spine, no big achievements either. More on that today, later. Well, good news, actually. Today, the Prime Minister fired up in Parliament. He went hard at Labor leader Anthony Albanese, although I must say it was a little bit over the top and a little bit scattergun. Better was the attack today from Defence Minister Peter Dutton, probably the star performer in Parliament now. It's a bit like Paul Keating. You know, when he gets up in Parliament, that look in his eye, the opposition then, whoa, they lean back thinking, uh-oh. Keating had that effect. I think Dutton does too. The thing today with Dutton, though, is that he put his attack on Anthony Albanese in context to a point.
We know that our nation is facing the most complex and potentially catastrophic regional security environment since the Second World War. The threat now posed by the Chinese government aggression is very real, and, Mr Speaker, it's growing. We've seen an unholy alliance between the Chinese government and the Russian government with President Putin, and both countries have been very open about that relationship, and that should, I think, cause great concern right across the world, but in particular in our own region, Mr Speaker.
None of that is an exaggeration. In fact, I worry, have for some time, that many Australians don't want to believe how frightening things are. I keep trying to tell you the latest. It's scary. And it's not just, you know, like today, the head of ASIO, a top spy agency, warning foreign spies and interference is now a bigger problem than even terrorism, saying ASIO just stopped a huge threat by a foreign country, apparently Russia, to use millions of dollars to subvert one of our elections. And China too has had agents of influence here who gave money even to a Labor Senator, Sam Dastyari, who by sheer coincidence pushed some of his foreign agenda. But the China threat is much, much bigger than that. I mean, China right now is building ports overseas, potentially for its navy. Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, Djibouti, at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, all Chinese ports going in. And really worrying, it last week issued a joint declaration with Russia, with President Vladimir Putin saying America wasn't a democracy at all. China was the new democracy. By the way, they hated democracy movements. They were out. They actually said that, and said a new era had dawned. There was a new world order, and it was no longer America's. Now, this is a pact, an axis of evil between the massive Chinese dictatorship, which threatens to invade Taiwan, and the Russian strongman, who's threatening to invade Ukraine. By the way, this document they released said they supported each other in these conflicts. And any country that steps out of line, particularly with China, will see what has just happened to Australia, just for defending democracy. Massive trade bans. We've got Australians now in jail over there, apparently that's hostage diplomacy. And we've been hit by huge cyber attacks from China, even on our own parliament. That's what we're facing. And that's why the foreign ministers of 4 big democracies, the United States, India, us of course, and Japan, met in Melbourne today to discuss exactly this threat and what to do about it. The United States Secretary of State would not have flown here with Russia poised to invade Ukraine at any moment unless China really did scare him and unless the US really did need help.
What we know in the United States, half a world away, is that we cannot effectively deal with these challenges alone. Whatever our power, whatever our resources, whatever our capabilities, we simply can't do it.
So that's the whole context. That's the whole context for what Dutton then said to Albanese, Anthony Albanese. Okay, here it is.
If anybody has been less prepared to put themselves forward as a potential Prime Minister of this country when it comes to the issue of national security, I'm not aware of anyone less prepared, maybe apart from Mark Latham, than this man, Mr Speaker.
It is true. Albanese has never held a senior portfolio in government or in opposition. He hasn't been Defence Minister, hasn't been Foreign Minister, hasn't been Treasurer, he hasn't been Finance Minister. But Dutton did then go maybe too far for many, saying Albanese was China's choice.
The Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government, has also made a decision about who they're going to back in the next federal election, Mr Speaker. That's open. That is obvious, Mr Speaker.
And I think it is true. China would probably prefer Labor. I think that's obvious. But to be fair, there is no real evidence that Albanese would actually be softer on China. He's certainly trying very hard not to be. Some others in his party I might have doubts about, but there you go. But, you know, Dutton's claim could be unfair, but it still could also be politically strong. But the main thing now is for the Liberals to build the whole context for the insult, to roll it all out. I haven't heard it all come together. Like, one, get our army armed and prepared for an enemy that's only China. Anything else beside that, like these new tanks, forget it. Two, make us more self-sufficient. If China cuts our trade routes or stops supplying us things, you know, fuel, medicine, things like that. And some heavy engineering would be good. Three, get more defence of democracy going. We've got to make alliances like we're doing, but more of them, with other democracies against China. And we also have to preach the democratic values. We've got to reassure Australians, we've got to teach young Australians in particular, democracy is worth it. There is a threat. This country is worth defending. It's not this rotten, racist, genocidal place that so many on the left would have. These are part of the whole strategy we need to put to the people. And then the question for both parties at the election will be, are we safe with you?